We are.
Mr. Prasanna is not audible, but he will give a thumbs up.
Hmm. All righty.
Yeah. So keep your phone stagnant, not
Mhm.
shaky. Cool then. Cool then. We'll just go ahead. Hi all. Welcome to another season of the Interviewer. In the sense, like it's the second season for us. So far, we had 20 episodes of the interviews with the different poets from different places and different perspectives, different mindsets. And well, today on to the second show season, we have Yasmin S Brown from Pennsylvania, the USA. Here we welcome onto our show, ma'am, the interviewer. Please make your gracious presence on to our show, ma'am.
Hi, and thank you for having me.
Cool. So before we go ahead with the session, I'll just read out a short bio of Yasmin S Brown. Here it goes. Yasmin S. Brown is an international best-selling co-author in the voices of the 21st century resilient women who rise and make a difference. She is an anthology participant in Cadence and an American Writing Award finalist. Yasmin S. Brown has been featured in Hush, Love and Longing, an international anthology of poems, and Echoes Within, an international and another international anthology of micro poems as well. Yasmin has been launching her publishing career in 2018 and grew to become an international best-selling author by herself. So on this note, here we welcome Yasmin S. Brown onto our show. Yes, ma'am. Here we will go.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. So we have to say good evening and you have to say good morning.
Yes.
Two different contrasts. So, ma'am, coming to that word contrast, Yasmin S. Brown, two different words from two different contexts. How did you get your name, ma'am?
Got my name actually from my grandmother.
Okay.
Um, my grandmother named me after an American singer, Diana Ross.
Okay.
Her daughter, Yasmin, she named me after her.
Okay.
But as I got older, I grew in the context of knowing that my name meant various things among various cultures. So it was like a flower, and then I found out that it was like a child of God. So just over just time, I learned the various meanings of my actual name.
Yasmin or Jasmine?
Right. Yasmin or Jasmine.
Cool. That's nice. That's nice. So, so say something about your country, culture, heritage, and literature. What all you want to please?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something about America. America is a journey of,
It's nice.
it is, and it can be, and you have to know where to look. Um, as far as opportunity and appreciation for land,
Okay.
land and love.
Yeah.
Um,
That's nice.
it it is, it's a journey though. It's a
Cool.
journey.
That's nice. So, how did poetry happen to you, man? And what does poetry mean to you?
Poetry means to me a way to express myself or whatever I'm going through in life, that I can share that experience with the reader in a way that not only allows me, if I'm going through some type of emotion, but allows me to be able to express that emotion to heal someone else, or contribute to the understanding of that same emotion in another person.
That's nice. So at what age did you start writing poetry?
I started writing poetry around age 6. It was kind of the roses are red, violets are blue in elementary school,
So you
and
started with
then it
some simple
evolved.
rhyme, something? You started with some
Yes,
rhyme.
yes. It's kind of like the basic poetry, like
Yeah,
roses are red, violets are
yeah.
blue, your
Okay.
shirt's red, mine's is too. Like
Yeah.
kind of, and then it
As a
grew.
kid, like, I got you. So, Bon Honey is a French word for a new year. So, how did you come up with the
Yes.
title of your book?
I came up with the title of my book because I wanted to say Happy New Year, and there are New Year's poems in the book. I wanted to say Happy New Year, but when I really thought about the word and what New Year's meant in the context of across all cultures, it still means the same thing. It means success and happiness.
Yeah,
Um, so I just thought of it that way, and that's why I call the book Banane.
but
And not only that, my daughter's in French class, so I have
okay,
an opportunity to meet her French teacher.
okay,
Um, and we had a nice long discussion about the book in French and everything. So
okay.
that just kind of sealed the deal on the name.
That's nice. That's nice to come up with a new title. New title in the sense like Bon Honey. A new year, it comes with a new beginning and with the closure of a uh, old old year. A closure to a innings and a beginning to a new era sort of thing. So that's where like the culmination of both ends meet together in the new year. So
Yes.
that's where we celebrate New Year. So that's a nice topic to take over. And going further, like how do you want to portray your poetry as fiction rather than poetry by itself? As you mentioned in your book, like as fiction rather poetry. Why do you say that?
I don't I don't have a really I don't have a specific reason on why I say that. It's just that I write poetry based on how I feel. So if
Okay.
it's something that is an expression of my feeling
Yeah.
versus an expression of something I see, it just all depends
You
on
gone
what
through.
I'm experiencing.
So, but
Pardon
why
me.
fiction? Fiction, it comes into a different take altogether. Why not poetry by itself? That's what I mean to say.
I don't know. That question I truly don't know why not poetry by itself.
It's a yeah,
I guess I don't know. I just poetry by itself
cool. You can think
is
later.
just poetry. It's just poetry. But it's like poetry as fiction versus poetry as
Poetry.
poetry. I
It's the
guess to me it
amalgamation.
has more
Yeah,
meaning, more context
yeah.
is kind of how I see it.
That's nice. So I read your quote and I love this quote very much. Roar is you discovering your authentic self once you light is turned off. So how do you equate yourself with this quote?
That quote is my life. Uh, because a lot of times, from just a young child up until my adulthood now, I felt like I lived in the background a lot, and I didn't realize my capabilities of a person and didn't discover this journey that I'm on now until maybe about 15 years ago, that I'm so much more than the background. So once I got that light turned on or that aha moment, um, I was on a new journey of self discovery and healing and helping others.
Well, here I have a quote from Maya Angelou, who says, like, nothing can dim the light which shines from within. Do you resemble with that quote?
I do, because
Yeah.
your light is in you. Like no
Yeah.
one else needs to turn on your light but you.
Yeah. So somewhere down the line, I could coincide with that thought or quote. So that's the reason I had to ask you this. That's very well said. I see the poetry as the gravitational pull of the nature, because until
Mm.
and unless you don't have gravitational force that makes you sit and compels you to write, you will not be able to write. That is what my feeling is all about. And here you say, like, we have that gravitational pull of the nature. So what's your take on this saying?
My take on that saying is the fact that nature teaches us what
Hmm.
we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to be, how it teaches us nurture, it teaches us unity, it teaches us growth, it teaches us basically the circle of life.
Yeah.
And as people, I think that we are the pull because we try to do the opposite of what we're being taught. And we're doing everything but what nature's doing. So that is how and why I see that there's a gravitational pull.
True. True. In any course or in any event or any undertaking, like, there's a gravitational pull to which you, not only that you succumb to certain things, like, you are attached to it, you are grounded to it, you are motivated to it. You you are inclined to it. So that's the gravitational pull, which poetry takes us to. So
Mm.
going ahead with the another question, like, I loved your poem, The Quietness of Prairie. She, be quiet. Let me recite a few lines of this poem. Shh, be quiet. Enjoy my beauty in silence, observing in contemplation, taking every space in. So that's a beautiful lines that you have brought in. Like, you brought in this beauty of silence. You have brought in the observation and contemplation. Okay, taking every space in. That's very much a profound way of putting it across. So uh, this is where your poem stands out. This is where my stress subsidize. This is where you finish the line. This is where my stress subsidize. So what does stress and strain leave you or make you as a person?
Stress and strain makes me as a person resilient and a continuous learner because the stress actually is the lesson
Hmm.
that you learn. Regardless of how hard the lesson is, there is a teaching moment in that lesson.
Yeah.
So, stress is about resilience and bounce back, and how you process the stress is important. And you can't process stress with noise. You have to be quiet and you have to listen.
Hmm. That's nice. That's a nice way of putting it across. So how much of resilience or perseverance have you discovered in your life, in your living? How much of patience level have you discovered yourself?
I'm sorry.
Like, how much of resilience and perseverance have you discovered in your life and in your living?
I've discovered a life full of resilience. um,
Because see, at this age, because we go through some certain phases of life. So at this phase of your life, what's your resilient power?
my resilient part of my life
At this phase.
at this stage is a constant overcoming
Okay.
of things that are meant to set me back
Hmm.
in the earlier parts of my life. So I think that the resilient part is me recognizing those triggers of the past and not allowing them to take over my present life,
Yeah.
and being able to be resilient and continuously moving forward
Oh,
and not being stuck and held back.
yeah. Not to be stuck and stagnant in the past life. Say.
Right,
You need to keep on moving as the river. You need to flow as the river. Rather stuck and be stagnant as a pond.
right.
Let me
I,
put it poetically.
right. I talk about water a lot in some of
Yeah,
the poems, and
yeah,
just basically that's what it is.
yeah. So that's nice to know. That's nice to know. So, like, how do you connect to the spirit and the spirituality within and connect through your poems? Because you have written certain lines about spirituality. So, how do you get inclined through to spirituality with your poems?
As I said before, spirituality is about sometimes being quiet,
Being quiet,
because
okay,
being quiet,
being silent,
because right, being silent.
discover,
Because
discovering silence within yourself.
right,
Yeah,
because the silence is where you learn from the spirit, from the spirituality, like through prayer. Well, you can't hear the answer if you're not silent. So it's a lot about a conversation with
yeah,
no words. Um, so that is where my spirituality, sometimes, most of the time, it's in the morning, middle of the night, during meditation. Um, those moments of silence actually makes me the most creative.
most creative person. Like you mean to say, like the creative cues start from there. You mean to say?
Right, right.
Okay. Do you have any poetic timing? Like either you sit in the morning or else evening, like you sit in a desk to write some poetry or something? Do you have certain timings for that?
My best time to write is in the morning when I
Okay.
first get up.
Get up.
When I
Okay.
first get up,
Okay.
the house is quiet, no one's moving around, no one's talking. It's usually, it could be anywhere between 3 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. that
Okay.
this happens, and it's just the quietness and the
Quietness.
calmness of the house.
Yeah, that brings in some that it's not the sparks, they are the sparks or the elements of thoughts that makes you write something. I believe like
Mm-hmm.
most of the people, most of the great minds, they prefer the morning, early mornings to wake up and uh, to bring out their creative spirits out. This is
Right.
what even I used to feel. But in the modern days, like most of them, they're not able to find time in this materialistic age, not able to find time to get up early and to write something. Is it not?
It is. You can find time anytime to write, but if I'm doing it and it's not in the morning, I definitely need a creative
Sitting.
atmosphere.
Yeah.
So it's more of nature.
That
Like I
matters a
go
lot.
to nature.
Yeah, that matters a lot. Like wherein like you should have creative atmosphere. Wherein you shouldn't have a creative atmosphere. At least you need to create an atmospheric aura for that. See,
Hmm.
even in my even I if I am in my office, I need to create an atmosphere wherein like I can focus on writing or else focus on interview. So we need to create that balance wherein like we can bring out that creative energies out. Is it?
Right.
So well, going ahead, like so how do you view in the elements of nature in poetry, especially in upbringing the resilience of love and life and longing in the woman? How do you connect
Bringing
these
like
natural elements of natural elements like earth, water, air, fire, everything? This is what you have brought in your poetry.
I connect, just I'll give you an example. Like when
Yeah.
I go hiking.
Okay.
um and connecting through maybe hugging a tree, then learning the
Wow,
texture of the tree, sitting
that's
and
nice.
observing the flow of the water,
Wonderful.
observing the flight of the bird and how the wings go. Like it's just about observation at that point.
Not only observing, it's like owning and feeling also.
Hmm. So
Right? Am
if
I right?
you have, right, so if you have a feeling, because it's going to trigger something,
Yeah.
you just take that feeling and apply it to whatever you're
A thought
observing.
process. And you apply to your thought process and which eventually turn out to poetry. This is what you mean to say.
Right, right.
Yeah. You have a creative mind, you have creative spark, you have creative streak, well maintained, very well disciplined. I mean to say, like, uh, the reason why I had to say, like, you are very much disciplined towards creative, like, we are very much conscious about the nature. Once you are
Hmm.
very much conscious about the nature, you can find out the poetic elements just like that. You can pick up the
Right.
poetic element just like that, like the flow of water or the bark of a tree, the smell of a leaf, the fragrance of a
Hmm.
flower. You know,
Hmm.
all these things. We are under the influence of poetry. We poetize everything. We are like
Right,
omnipresence, omniscience that comes into our presence
right,
without our knowing, without our absence of understanding. Do you
right.
agree with this?
I agree. I definitely agree because you go to a whole together different place and your body just calms
Yeah.
and you just take everything in. You literally take everything in.
So that's what a poet should be. I believe so. That should that's how a poet should be. I believe so.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. I mean, a poet actually observes and feels
Yeah.
before the pen hits the paper,
Yeah.
and that's what goes on the paper.
Yeah. What I feel is like not only observe, he needs to own it.
Right.
Am I right?
You
Yeah.
do. You do. Because I actually have had well, I'm not even going to say writer's block. I've actually had times where I tried to write a poem on an off schedule and maybe the first two lines would come out or first
Yeah.
two words or
What's
something, but I couldn't do the rest because
yeah.
I didn't want it.
Yeah. So later on, after a period of time, like you will give a new shape to it, new dimension to it. It may come out in a different form altogether.
Right.
Right? Perfect. Perfect. So, going ahead, like you have several thematic poems on love and longing. So, what's your take on personal love life?
On my personal
Love?
my personal love life. I
You want
I
to
don't
keep
know.
it too personal?
I'm the type of person that love.
Okay,
Rather,
you
I'm
love
in the
yourself. You love yourself.
right. I love. So regardless if I'm in a relationship or not in a relationship, I still love. I love to
Yeah,
see other people in love. I just love
that's nice.
because it's
It's an
it's
energy that you share with others.
right. It's a shared energy, and I see it as a because we are supposed to be two and two. I
Hmm.
see that as a connection and representation of that.
Yeah, you have several themes on that. So, say something about your love poetry.
Something about my love poetry, huh? I wrote a poem called "The Eclipse Love,"
Yeah.
and the eclipse love was basically I was actually sitting outside watching the eclipse. Mind you, I was watching the eclipse, but something about how people come and go out of your life,
Yeah,
just allow that poem to flow the way that it came out on paper,
yeah,
because the eclipse was a clear expression of the coming and going of love and loss.
yeah. That's an expressive word. Like it has a duality to that word. Like it has a different tonality, different meaning. Eclipse in love. It's like to and
Mm,
fro, back and forth.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It has a very, very much a poetic, profound meaning to that eclipse of love. I read it. Like I got your point here. Like what you meant to say in terms of eclipse now. I, again, coming to your New Year poems, like you say, like every New Year comes with a new hopes and aspirations and resolutions. What's the New Year for you for as per the poems? Like because you brought in different layers of New Year, different themes, different layers, different chapters to New Year. How did this all happen?
New Year, I thought about how every year I used to make a New Year's resolution. Used
Okay.
to. I
Yeah.
don't do that anymore. I kind
Okay.
of, every New Year or close to New Year's, there's a word that comes within my spirit. And whatever that word is, whether it's education, healing, confidence, just resilience, whatever the word is what I apply for my following year. It's not a resolution, it's an action that I'm supposed to be doing throughout that year in order to complete whatever my journey is for that year as a circle.
So here, one of the poem you say like, you have another poem like gratitude for the new year. So how do you show your gratitude for the new year?
My gratitude for the new year this year, I actually went to a sound healing.
Okay,
The first day on New Year's, I
okay.
went to a sound healing meditation. That was how I spent my new year. I just listened to sound, and we all laid on the floor, and they played the sounds on the bowls, and you listen to water and scents and everything. That is my start of my New Year's, because that was the word. Healing and resilience was the words of this year. So that is how I started my new year. Like, you
So that's your
start with
gratitude.
action.
So that's your gratitude
Right.
to the
My gratitude is appreciation of
yeah.
myself for
Yeah.
this year.
That's nice. That's a nice way of putting it across, honestly. Yeah. So, like, how do you summarize one honey of success, life, and poetry in your own words?
Summarize it as a celebration of
Life,
success, like, well,
celebration of life,
success, life, poetry,
and
but
putting everything into poetry.
and putting that into
Yeah.
poetry is just an appreciation of experience.
Wow. I
It
like
is. It's
you
it's
nailed
an
it.
appreciation of experience.
Uh, Appreciation, acknowledging of life as it takes on. Yeah, I'm putting it
Right.
in poetry. See, this is where poetry comes into place. This is where poetry comes into existence. Like you bring in all your life experiences and expertises into your poetry. Uh, in generalizing things, it turns out to be poetry, and that turns out to be magical, isn't it?
Yes.
So, yeah. So, what I mean to say is like you bring in that spirit, that poetic spirit, and it turns out to be a poetic soul over there
I
on the paper.
I bring in this that spirit
Poetic
to
spirit.
create a visual
Yeah.
for other people to experience my
Experience.
experience. Yeah.
to experience, but through your experiences.
Right.
Yeah,
So if I'm
that's
telling
fine.
you that we're playing outside in the snow, we're making snow angels and everything like that as a visual, you can see that. So now you're in my experience.
Yeah. Great saying, great saying. Well, like you've been a public speaker and a healthcare professional and a motivational speaker by yourself. What motivates you to write poetry?
As a public speaker and appreciation for communication,
Wow.
I what makes me want to write poetry is the communication aspect because you're communicating on a level with people that they actually can appreciate, relate to, and they also, in so many words, I mean, some people might find a creative spirit from
Yeah,
your poetry, so it might, trigger them to write a poem or, trigger them to take action in some kind of way.
yeah, true. I agree with that. I agree with that. Okay. So, as you said, like you have formed a movement, you formed a company, limited. Like, how do you empower the women folk through your Forward LLC, LTD, through your company?
Through my company, how do I like move
Empower
forward?
the woman.
Pardon me? I
How do
didn't.
you empower the woman folk through your company, which you have established?
My poetry comes through my company and like kind of like my company is layered through writing
Okay.
and coaching. So when I said before how a therapist or counselor they teach you the journal,
Yeah.
well that's how I started writing outside of poetry.
Okay.
I came
So
back to it
I mean to say, like,
through writing.
how do you empower the woman folk?
I empower women and through support.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my poetry support women because there's a section on
Yeah.
women. A lot of my books support various things that women go through. I mean, uh, my writing in so many words is my experience as a woman, which is relatable to a lot of other women.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that is kind of how I help women to move forward to let
Oh,
them know they're not alone in whatever they're going through.
yeah. There's a very fine quote from Maya Angelou. It states that if you stand for yourself, you're for yourself. But if you stand for a cause as a woman, you stand for others, other women as well. It might
Hmm.
not be the same wordings, but it summarizes this gist. If a woman
Right.
stands for herself, it's like standing for the entire human community.
Right.
You agree on that note?
I agree.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Well, Yasmin, like it was nice interviewing you. Like it was nice knowing you as a person, as a poet, and a poet as a person as well. Like, thanks for coming on to my show. So, how do you feel on the whole?
Uh, I feel that we had a good interview.
Thumbs up. Cheers. We had a good
Cheers.
interview. Yeah. Cool, Yasmin. Like, thanks a lot for being on to my show and making the show a great success story, another success story for me. Uh, hope, hope we will catch up later very soon. Thanks for being
Yes.
on to my show once again. Thanks a lot.